Good morning everyone. We will start one more important, the last part of the chemical kinetics. It is the special cases of first order reactions or some complicated first order reactions. These are called complicated first order reactions or special cases for the first order reactions. Complicated first order reactions. So in this complicated first order reactions, we will discuss about three types of reactions. First one is parallel reactions, reverse reactions, and consecutive reactions, one by one. So this is a little bit complicated in nature. So the name itself complicated, special cases. First one, parallel reactions. Or we can say side reactions. Parallel reactions or side reactions. What is the meaning of this parallel reaction? In some chemical reactions case, you can observe the reactant may give two or more products. So far we have discussed that reactant can produce one type of the product. Accordingly, first order, second order we have discussed. But there is a possibility it can give simultaneously. Let us take one reactant A, it can give product to B with some rate constant, and also it can give another product to C with another rate constant. Let us assume in this case rate constant K1 and here K2. The same, only one reactant, it is undergoing decomposition or consumption, and it is producing two different products with different rate constants. These type of reactions we can call parallel reactions or side reactions. You can observe mostly these type of reactions in organic reactions. Mostly organic reactions, the reactant can give two different types of products with a different yield. Organic reactions comes under parallel reactions. Mostly in benzene compounds, if you see one benzene compound, if it is some reagent, it can give either ortho product, para product and meta product with a different yields, right, with a different rate of reactions, and they are the parallel reactions. And again in this case, how to identify the rate constant and half-life reactions and activation energies, those things we will discuss. So first of all, how to write the rate equation. Here let us assume the initial concentration of A is A at a time t equal to 0. Then after some time t, let us assume some amount of A, I mean some X amount is consumed. Then how much amount of B can form and how much amount of C can be formed. So will you get the same X amount of B and X amount of C here? No. Why? Because this X only converting, it is splitting into two parts again. For example, if you take 1 mole of A, that is giving in that 1 mole some amount to B and some amount to C, not completely 1 mole, isn't it? So if X amount undergo decomposition, in that X amount, some of the portion will be converted into the B and some of the portion to the C. So let us assume in X moles, it can give Y moles, then it can give Z moles. So where now X is equals to, you can write Y plus Z. So this is the X value. You should not write directly X here and directly Z here. As usual, rate of reaction, that is a decreasing concentration of A, dA by dt. How we can write? We have discussed in the last class. If the reactant undergoes involved in two or more reactions, we can write the rate constant, resultant rate of the reaction like this. In the first reaction, rate constant K1 into concentration of A, and similarly in the second reaction also it is involving, that is plus K2 into concentration of A. So what you will get overall? Overall rate of reaction minus dA by dt is equals to, we can take a concentration of A as a common, then K1 plus K2 is equals to concentration of A. Where K1 plus K2, that we can take as a resultant constant, that is effective rate constant. This we can write further. In place of K1 plus K2, we can write K effective, means effective rate constant into concentration of E, where K effective is equals to K1 plus K2. Now, how it look like? Just first order integration, we have derived already integrated rate equations for first order reactions. The same concept you apply here, then we will get finally the concentration of A at time t is equals to concentration of A at initial time 0 and e power minus k t, where k is K effective into t, and this is the formula. And by using this we can calculate the concentration of A left after some time t. This you can write further. In place of K effective you can write then concentration of At is equals to A0 into e power K effective means K1 plus K2 into T. This is a reaction. Or else we can write this further, the rate constant or effective rate constant K is equals to 1 by T ln of A0 by At, concentration at initial time by concentration at time t, or simply the time. If you want to calculate time t is equals to 1 by K effective means K1 plus K2 ln of A0 by At. So just you can recollect the first order integrated rate equation, but extra here in place of rate constant K we are taking the effective rate constant, that is K1 plus K2 together. Similarly, half life for this parallel reaction, same just like the first order half life, here also this for this parallel reaction half life of effective reaction means overall reaction is equals to, we will get 0.693 by K effective. This is a formula, we know that. So, what is a K effective? That is K1 plus K2, that value you can substitute here. K effective means K1 plus K2, and this K1 and K2 we can write in terms of half lives, T of effective reaction is equals to 0.693 by K1 means what? 0.693 by T of the reaction A to B, and 0.693 by T of 2. This is A to C, second K1 with respect to K1 and with respect to K2 the half life reactions, and these values will cancel out. That can give effectively overall 1 by T of effective reaction is equals to, we can write this 1 by T of first reaction means K1 and T of second reaction, that is A to C. This is a formula for calculation of effective half life or individual half lives for two parallel reactions, and here formulas are very very important. Effective half life, and next you will see the calculation of activation energy, effective activation energy. we know that rate constant K effective is equals to K1 plus K2. This is the one where K effective, according to Arrhenius equation, K effective is equals to A effective e power minus EA activation energy effective. Let me take directly EF effective activation energy by RT. The temperature is constant, R is anyhow constant, that is equals to K1 means with respect to K1 A1 into e power activation energy 1, let me write as E1 by RT plus A2 e power minus E2 by RT. Again here E2 indicates activation energy for second reaction. Now, apply the differentiation or do the differentiation with respect to temperature. Differentiate it with respect to temperature. Just you do the differentiation of that reaction with respect to temperature. Then A into e power f anyhow constant, and you do the differentiation for e power x, you will get e power x, that means EF by RT effective into then we have e power x, that x value you have to calculate, minus EA by RT, that you differentiate it, you will get minus of minus plus E effective by RT square. Similarly, this one you do the differentiation, A1 is constant, e power minus E1 by RT into again minus E1 by RT, that you do the differentiation with respect to temperature, you will get E1 by RT square, again plus A2 e power minus E2 by RT again minus E2 by RT. If you do the differentiation, you will get E2 by RT square. Next, A effective into e power minus E effective by RT. Again this is K effective and effective activation energy, E effective by RT square. Again A1 into e power minus EA by RT, again this is K1 rate constant into activation energy 1 by RT square plus again A2 e power minus EA2 by RT, that is K2 E2 activation energy 2 by RT square. Again we are converting that Arrhenius equation in terms of the rate constants. Now RT square, RT square, RT square, they are same, you can cancel out, and what left? Effective rate constant into effective activation energy is equals to K1 E1 plus K2 E2. From this effective activation energy we can write like this: effective activation energy for a parallel reaction, that is K1 E1 plus K2 E2 by K effective. K effective means K1 plus K2, and this is the effective activation energy for the parallel reaction where two products are formed. If more than two products forms, for example 3 products are formed. Okay. So for here if n products are involved in a parallel reaction, then you can write the effective activation energy is equals to sum of Ki Ei by summation of K rate constants, or simply we can write K effective. or else here you can write K effective. This is the effective activation energy for a parallel reaction involving n number of products. So, now we will see concentrations of the reactants and products involved in parallel reaction at a time t. We will calculate calculation of concentration of A at a time t and concentration of B at a time t and concentration of C at a time t. Anyhow, concentration of A at a time t for this particular reaction already we have calculated, that is AT is equals to A0 e power minus K effective into T, right. That means K1 plus K2 T, that part is over. Or this you can write as A0 into e power minus K1 plus K2 T. Next, concentration of B at a time t. How to identify? First of all, you write the rate equation with respect to B. Change in concentration of B at a time t by dt. For this, how can we write the rate equation? That is K1 into concentration of A at a time t, and this is a formula. Now, this AT value substitute here. Why? Because we know that then a change in concentration of B at a time t by dt is equals to K1 A0 into e power minus K1 plus K2 into T. We required only the concentration of B, not change in concentration of B. Concentration of B at a time t. Now, you separate the terms and integrate it just like previous. Now, this is concentration of B at a time t is equals to K1 A0 e power minus K1 plus K2 T into dt. Now, you apply the integration both side. This is 0 to concentration B, and a K1 A0 constant you can take it at as, and now integrate from 0 to time t, and d of B will give directly concentration of B at a time t is equals to K1 A0, these are the constants, by integration of e power x, that is the e power ax type. So, e power ax means e power ax by a. So, minus K1 K2 into e power minus K1 plus K2 into T. So, for this we are applying the limits, the region 0 to T. Now, finally, this you can write like this: at a concentration of time t, K1 A0 by minus of K1 plus K2 in this. First, you apply the time t. So, e power minus of K1 plus K2 into T minus, in place of T if you apply the 0, the overall term e power 0, you will get e power 0. E power 0 means 1, that you can write, minus you bring this side. Now, concentration of B at a time t is equals to K1 A0 by K1 plus K2 into this, you can write 1 minus e power minus K1 plus K2 into T, and this is the concentration of B at a time t, this derivation. Similarly, we can calculate concentration of C at a time t, and similarly concentration of C at a time t. First, you can write the rate equation: concentration of C at a time t by dt is equals to K2 into concentration of A at a time t. So, everything is the same, only in place of K1 just you write K2, the remaining again concentration of A2 you substitute here A0 e power minus K1 K2, again you do the derivation and integration, and finally we will get the concentration of C at a time t is equals to, in place of K1 we are writing now rate constant with respect to C, initial concentration A0 by K1 plus K2 into 1 minus e power minus K1 plus K2 into t, and this is the concentration of C at a time t. So, these are the concentrations for A, B, C at a time t. Initial there is a concentration of reactant at a time t, concentration of products B and C at a time t. Next, one more important point here, the percentages of B and C, how much product of B is formed and how much product of C is formed with respect to percentages. We can see from this, first of all, the rate constant, that is the concentration of B at a time t by the concentration of C at a time t is equals to, what you will get, just you take the two ratios, you will get it K1 by K2. Why? Because the remaining terms are same, A0 by K1 plus K2 and 1 minus e power minus K1 plus K2, both the case the same, they will get cancelled out. So, you will get concentration of B at a time t by concentration of C at a time t. The concentration ratios are equal to that rate constant ratios, and this is the one. So, from this you can derive further the percentage of B and percentage of C. You can write percentage of concentration of B at a time t is equals to K1 by K1 plus K2 or K effective into 100. This is a percentage. This is also very important formula. Similarly, percentage of C at a time t is equals to, in place of K1 we can write K2 here, K2 by K1 plus K2 into 100. From this we can calculate the percentage of C, and further you can use another formulas also here. With respect to half lives also we can calculate the percentage of B, that is percentage of B at a time t is equals to, here K1 means K, we know that the rate constant, K is inversely proportional to half life. So, here K1 half life of first reaction, that is a B, and K1 plus K2 means effective half lives. So, you can write overall effective half life by half life of first reaction into 100. And similarly, you can write for C also with respect to half lives, percentage of C at a time t is equals to, here T of second reaction, in place of first reaction you have to take. So, T of effective by T of second reaction into 100. These are the percentages. Now, we will see some graphical representations here with respect to parallel reaction graphs. Anyhow, here A is giving both reactants, both products, you are getting B and C with respect to some rate constant K1, K2. Means here reactant A is undergoing decomposition and B or C or the concentrations are increasing, concentration of A decreasing and concentration of B and C increasing. So, that we can represent in the graphical manner. Here this is the concentration on x axis and a time, concentration on y axis, time on x axis. So, as time being the concentration of A. Initially concentration of A is more, somewhere here. As the time increases, concentration of A decreases. Anyhow, first order reactions, so you can say exponential decay. And concentration of B and C will increase. So initially both B and C at 0 state. As the time increases, concentration of both will increase, B and C. So whichever is more or whichever is less, that depends on the rate constant K1 and K2. Anyhow, this is the concentration of A. And what about these two curves? Here one is B and one is C. Let us assume this is B and this is C. And this is possible when if rate constant of B is less than rate constant of C. If K2 is more, you will get more amount of C, more amount of formation of C. If K1 is more, then you will get, you can go with interchange. So in this case, we can say K1 is less than K2. If they ask the question, what is the rate constant relation based on the graph? So here B is having less concentration, means K1 should be less, formation is less. This is the graph with respect to parallel reactions. For example, if some coefficients is given in the product formation, then how to write? Let us take one more example here. A is giving anyhow B, but here some m moles of B we are getting and some n moles of C we are getting, let us assume. Then in this case, how to write the remaining same effective activation energies or whatever the concentration of B or concentration of C, all these things. Yeah, again at a time t equal to 0, this is concentration A, but at a time t equal to t, let us assume some x amount, A minus x. Then you assume here you will get some y moles of B and here some z moles of C after time t. But in the previous case, we have taken that x equal to y plus z. But this is not possible here. This is not correct. You cannot take x equal to y plus z here. Why? Why? Because the formation of y and z depends on the stoichiometric coefficients, isn't it? So you can write this equation now, x equal to y by the stoichiometric coefficient m plus z by the stoichiometric coefficient n. So this is the x value here. So why? Because we can express this according to this, m moles of B can be formed by 1 mole of A according to stoichiometric calculations. Then x moles of A can give your y moles of B. Then y moles of B is coming from how much you can take here, that will give x equal to m is coming from 1, then y is coming from how much? This is not completely x, will not all x will not give the m, some amount here, okay, some amount, how much we have to calculate here. So then how much amount of A can give y moles of B? How much amount? That is y by m into 1. So this much amount of A can be converted into the B. Similarly, in case of C, we are getting n moles of C in general from 1 mole of A. Then Z mole of C can come from how many moles? That is again Z by n moles. If you take Z by n moles of A, you will get this one Z. Now what is the A here? Now how much consumed? X consumed. So now overall X equal to the amount of B formed and amount of C formed. So this is B formed here, y by m, and C formed here, z by n. So that I wrote here x equal to y by m plus z by n. Anyhow, this is not that much important for understanding purpose only. So finally you should remember here, if they give the stoichiometric coefficient like this, you can observe only the change with respect to the rate constants. So this one. So concentration of B at a time t is equals to, with a rate constant K1 into a power 0, so A0 by K1 plus K2 into 1 minus e power minus of K1 K2 Et. This is a formula. If you take 1 mole of B, stoichiometric coefficient is 1, we will get this one. But if so, in this case the stoichiometric coefficient is M, generally the rate constant of reactant is equals to rate constant of reaction into stoichiometric coefficient. So just you write in place of K1 M into K1. That's it. Just you add this stoichiometric coefficient. No need to go for again the entire derivation. Just you remember this one. Similarly, concentration of C, that can give in place of K2 we will write NK2 into concentration of A0 by K1 plus K2 into 1 minus e power minus of K1 plus K2 into E. So this one. So from this concentration of B by concentration of C, only there you can see the change. Is equals to M times of rate constant K1 by N times of rate constant K2. Just you can remember this one. Just you multiply with the stoichiometric coefficients of the products. So this much is enough. No need to go for again the derivation. So if they give the stoichiometric coefficient like that. For example, if they give a stoichiometric coefficient with respect to A also, for example, there is Mn. Some P moles of A is giving some M moles of B and N moles of C. In this case, what we have to do? Nothing. Just you divide the entire equation with the P. You take P by P. You bring the P this side. M by P and N by P. Means what? If you take the whatever the stoichiometric coefficient of A, that will not change the concentration of B and concentration of C. Why? Because the same rate only B will increase and C will increase. 1 by P and 1 by P. They will again get cancelled out. No problem. One question related to parallel reactions. We have one reaction. Here reactant A is giving two products B and C parallelly and sideway, and whose rate constants, and this is K1 and K2. Here the relation between K1 and K2 is given as K1 by K2 equal to 9, and K1 value is given 9 into 10 power minus 5 minute inverse. Then calculate. First one, percentage of B in the product side, and the second one, the ratio of concentration of A at a time t to the concentration of B at a time t, and the time is here after 10 power 5 minutes. So after 10 power 5 minutes, how much amount of A is there and how much amount of B is there, and what is the ratio between the amount of reactant left and amount of one of the product B formed. You can see the solution for this. The first one, K1 by K2 is given. K1 by K2 is given as 9. And K1 is given as 9 into 10 power minus 5 minute inverse. So from this you can calculate the K2 value. Then if K1 equal to 9 into 10 power minus 5, ultimately K2 is equals to 1 into 10 power minus 5 minute inverse. That's it. Next we have to calculate first one, percentage of B. What is the percentage of B at a time t, or else we have the formula, that is with respect to B, K1 by K effective, K1 plus K2 into 100. This is a formula where K1 is 9 into 10 power minus 5 by K2, K1 plus K2, that we can give 10 into 10 power minus 5 into 100. So this can give approximately 90%. So why? Because you can see your rate constant of K1 is more, that is almost 9 times to the rate constant of B, the rate constant of C. Ultimately, so whichever case the rate constant is more, that can give more amount. So 90% of B can be formed. The remaining ultimately you can see the 10% of C. The graph we have taken already. So whichever case the rate constant is more, the product formation is more in that case. And the second one, we have to calculate the concentration of A versus B after time t. And concentration of A after time t, first you calculate individually, that we have the formula A0 into e power minus K1 plus K2 into t. You substitute the known values here. Anyhow, initial concentration we do not know, you keep as it is, and e power minus K1 plus K2, that overall value 10 into 10 power minus 5. At what time? At the time of 10 power 5 minutes we have to calculate into 10 power, the t equal to 10 power 5, and that can give 10 power 5, 10 power 5 will cancel out, and you left with concentration of A at 0 by e power 10. Similarly, concentration of B at a time t, that is at a 10 power 5 seconds. Again we have the formula, concentration of B is equals to K1 into concentration of A0 by K1 plus K2 1 minus e power K1 K2 into t, that is equals to K1 value, you know that 9 into 10 power minus 5 by K1 plus K2 10 into 10 power minus 5 into A0, again 1 minus this e power minus K1 K2 t, this we got just now 1 by e power 10, that value is 1 by e power 10. Again 10 power 5 cancel out, 9 by 10 A0, that can give the concentration of B is 9 into A0 by 10 into this one e power 10 minus 1 by e power 10. Now you take the ratio of AT versus BT. AT versus BT. So AT value we got A0 power e power 10. So A0 e power 10 both will cancel out. Then we left with 10 by 9. We have to take reverse concentration of B. So we will get here 10 by 9 into e power 10 minus 1. Anyhow, compared to 1 e power 10 is very large. This we can write approximately 10 by 9 into e power 10. So this is a ratio. E power 10 is higher value compared to 1. Similarly, if they ask AT versus CT, again you can take the concentration of CT, the same formula. Here in place of K1 you have to write the K2 value, you will get it.